So what does this mean for the workers who could be back on the picket line on Monday? Let's bring in labor and employment lawyer Lior Samfiru to discuss. Good morning, Lior. Good to see you.
Good morning, Candace.
So with another strike notice on the table and just 4 days to go, there is a lot up in the air for the employees across this province. What will this mean for those affected if the notice goes through?
Well, it's going to come down, Candace, to what the government does in return. If the government does not create new legislation banning the strike or forcing the employees into a collective agreement, that strike would be legal, which means that those employees are able to picket, or they do not have to work, and they have that right. But the real interesting thing is, if the government makes the new legislation like they did before, that strike would be illegal, and those employees would have to make tough decisions as to whether or not they're going to strike or potentially face some consequences. So we're going to have to see.
So, Lior, then, is that a possibility? Just this week, we saw Bill 28 repealed to get everyone back to the bargaining table. Could a new law come into play to make this next strike illegal?
Certainly, this government is able to pass through legislation very quickly with a majority government here. So, yes, it's absolutely possible. And I almost think that the government now is in a situation where they have to do it, or else that they're going to seem weak in what they have done in the past. So I do think, especially if the strike goes beyond a day or two, that there's a real possibility we're going to see new legislation tabled that affects employee rights.
Over the course of the last strike, we did see a lot of solidarity among the unions. So in the scenario that a call is put out for other unions to join in this one, what happens to those employees from other companies, other unions, if they decide to join the picket lines?
That is a real problem for those employees because they would not be on an illegal strike. So if they're missing work when they're not supposed to be missing work, they can face disciplinary consequences. Just like with any employee that's supposed to be at work and decides not to show up, that employer may choose to impose discipline, suspensions, in some situations even consider a termination. So it's not as simple as those employees saying, we're going to march in solidarity, we're going to miss work. They can't do that unless they're in a legal strike position.
Okay, and finally, Lior, where do we go from here? What are the options to move this issue forward and, ultimately keep schools open?
So we're in a stalemate right now. Everyone has drawn a line in the sand, and I think the only way to do that, or to get past it perhaps now, is to go to binding arbitration, to have an arbitrator decide what the terms of the collective agreement are going to be. That happens often with essential services, and it allows this stalemate to be done and for the parties to get back to work. So hopefully that's what happens here.
Okay, Lior, thanks as always for joining us. Always good to see you. And for more updates on the situation, continue to tune into Global News Morning, and we'll have more experts like Lior shedding light. Have a great day.
Have a great day as well.